Sorry for the delay, but we are in. It is Black Ops Cold War quarterfinals here on year 2, and we have a couple of great matches here for you. My name is Rob Marster. I'm here with Tej. How we doing, buddy?
I'm casting Cold War. I'm happy. Let's go.
Let's get right into it. So first match is going to be Denver Surrender and Minnesota Floppr, two top Silver North teams competing here in our Gold 2 bracket, and we are starting out here on Moscow Hardpoint and White Point so far to kick this off, but a lot of teams just fighting for position right now.
Yeah, you see Minnesota definitely in that way, but that's allowing Denver to get some of this opening time. We got two Silver North teams in this one. Both teams have had a phenomenal regular season and put themselves in the Gold 2 bracket. And it's going to be interesting, honestly, to see how they do, because you have one team in, I believe it was Denver, finishing 6-0. Minnesota finishing 5-1, and we have some issues. So we on MW2.
This is what we were dealing with, and that's why we started it was a little late, so hopefully you'll forgive us, but we will try to get back into the action here very shortly. But before we do that, I guess we can do our actual, like, more formal just kind of preview on the series. So maps will be on your screen right now. Moscow Hardpoint to kick us off, as you saw already. Then we'll be going into Raid Search, followed by Checkmate Control, everyone's favorite map and mode, followed by Raid once again if necessary for that Hardpoint, and Moscow Search as the Game 5 if needed. So decently a decent map set here. I like the raids, multiple raids, as many raids as we can get into a single series. I'm going to be happy with, just more often than not.
Yeah, and I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of 3-raid series in these playoffs, to be honest with you. It's obviously a fan favorite. Moscow as well. I mean, Moscow, another map that really plays well on this game, especially for, I think it is a nice little search map. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a really interesting series. Like I said, whoever wins this matchup will be playing the winner of Toronto Falters and LA Dweebs in Gold. So, I mean, look, obviously going to be a tough task for either one of these teams, but they're both very capable, having shown what they did in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting match no matter what. And just to give you guys a bit of a heads up of what the next match will be after this one, we do have I believe it's Silver 2 matchup coming up later on this evening, and that'll be between the Atlanta Days and LAG, and that'll be a decent match as well. And that's actually a pretty diverse map set, to say the least, but we'll talk more about that later. But we are in Black Ops Cold War once again, and Ty, I know you mentioned your love for this game, or rather you prefer this game than some, let's say, other CODs that we have to deal with more often than not. It always just feels like home to come back to this game.
Yeah, and I think it always happens in COD, right? But especially with this game, we played this game and we were like, oh, it's not that good of a game. It's not that good of a game. But this game is phenomenal. Years later, we're coming back to it. Years later, we're looking at some of the more recent CODs, and we're like, man, this might have been the best one. But it does look like we are loading back up into this one, thankfully, pretty fast.
Yeah, we are back into this one. Just had a bit of I think it was an input issue that we were fixing, but we are back. So Minnesota Floppr, Denver Surrender is our Gold 2 bracket here for our second year of Cold War. And I'm very glad CRL brought back Cold War for this final season of the year. As we right now finding that first blood there, and they are going to hope to grab this first point. It looks like Denver Surrender will get the first few points, and they will do so confidently.
Once again, though, I mean, coming off the restart, it looks like Minnesota really focusing on this P2 side and not wanting to give that off, and it's allowing Denver to get a lot of this opening time, even more so than before the restart. So they're happy with this. I mean, they can fight this, fight through P2 here, and now you do have some Minnesota players spawning out as well, and they're just collecting this time. I mean, already 30 seconds gone by. Denver with a nice lead to start this. Minnesota, I mean, they had the setup, but player number 7 does sneak through, so not going to be easy for them, and now going to get some shots on as well.
I mean, ballsy for someone with a submachine gun to be the one holding down the fort, but you got to do what you got to do. But Antidote immediately losing that one. So Dunny will hold things down here for Minnesota. That was a good hold there on P1, but now we look over to P2, and Denver will continue to move along. Minnesota actually losing a gunfight that is going to cost them the spawns. A couple of great kills going Denver Surrender's way. So they will continue this point streak. Minnesota have yet to get themselves onto the board, so they're going to look to try to get a straight through push here. Try to get themselves some time and finally get themselves moving along here, but right now Denver is just not letting that happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect start here for Denver Surrender. Hitting the first 63 seconds, now Ragnar on point with the pistol does get taken down, so Minnesota finally get some points on the board. And with 26 seconds left, you got to be careful about giving up spawns for next. And they're completely committing to this P2 point. And it's actually allowing Denver to spawn out towards street. So it is going to be Minnesota with the rest of this time. And now a foot race over to P3. And Denver is going to be there first. So maybe a little bit of a misstep there for Minnesota. If they can get these kills, they will right their wrongs. But it's not going well so far. And it is going to be Denver coming out on top with those trades. They'll be set up for next.
Yeah, Louis set up another great rotation here at Denver Surrender. They have done very well at getting as much time and then realizing when they have to go, and they're just beating Minnesota to the punch. Minnesota definitely going to have to work on that going forward here, because that is what is getting Denver the 50-point lead that they currently have, and they are holding on tight. It is taking forever for Minnesota to transition over to this next point and do some damage. And now they're finally getting into their first initial gunfights here. Antidote is ready on that head. He finds one, going to try to find two. Can't quite do it. Dundy's going to win that one. And it's going to open things up a little bit here for Minnesota. But Denver still firmly in control of the spawns right now, as well as the point. And they should hit that century mark here momentarily.
This is, again, just a great start here for Denver. And Dunny is going to try to just contest this time. He gets taken down. Benny with a few in the feed in that one. And then the rotation coming over. Minnesota should be here first, but they're also getting in these transitional gunfights, which they're losing at the moment. It's going to be a big job here for these guys on next for Minnesota, but they are taken down right away, and Denver is just having their way right now with Minnesota. They're set up next, and it's looking good, but a potential pinch now coming in for Minnesota.
Yeah, DG is going to be in the back and causing a little bit of trouble here for Denver. We'll find one, trying to find another. This is going to be first rotation win here for Minnesota as they hop on. But look at the spawn out of Denver, and I don't think Minnesota is picking up on it yet, or at least DG is not. But I think DG heard some bullets, so is now going to back off the point, hide in a little cubicle going on here. Denver going to find a couple of kills long range. About to take that initial gunfight onto DG. DG can't quite win it, so he's going to back on up. So Denver will regain control of this point, and they will start setting up. And they're basically spread out pretty well. Antidote is going to find a kill towards the back. So this is causing, once again, Minnesota to have only one way to go, and that's through the front.
This is an important juncture of the game right now for Minnesota. I mean, 13 seconds left here. You got to play for P1 this time around. You cannot give Denver as much time as you did on that first P1, but you also have to control these spawns for next. You have it at the moment. You have those P2 spawns, but again, you have to play this P1 a lot better than you did the first time around. They are going to start on the hill here and getting some kills as well as Spidey going to get taken down there by Benny. And it is going to be the first 10 seconds to Minnesota, but player number 3 in DG, you got to be careful with pushing out. I mean, this is a good run here for Minnesota. This is exactly what they needed to get back into this one.
Yeah, but something I really want to point out here for Denver. Denver doing a great job of sticking together for the break. You saw them all just pile into each other and clear section by section before they work their way through the entrance. But as I say that, though, it's going to be Decky just taking them all apart. Now, finally, an answer here from Denver, as they will have the spawns, and they are going to start moving on over to next. But Minnesota has Dunny standing by inside of PD. So he's going to have to work to do some damage here. But Denver does know he's there, and they have the numbers to show and cause some problems here for Minnesota. Now it's just about pushing in at the right time. But Minnesota also populating that side street, but Antidote is putting them down and causing problems here for Minnesota. Denver will get the first few points, but now Minnesota going to start to break on in, but Denver's still holding strong. Finally, a couple of good kills. They're out of Spidey. Will open things up. Minnesota starting to get a little bit of a run here, but they have a lot of ground to make up.
You got to watch these players coming to the street side. Now it is going to be player number 6 and Ragnar getting that back PD. I don't think they know he's there, so potential play he can make, but Minnesota still for the time being on this time, continuing to get the kills, finally getting that string of kills that they need to control these points, and now they're really putting the pressure on here, getting the last 3 hills have really gone their way, and you can already see the emphasis from Denver. Let's go next, let's set up, and let's get another big P3 like they did last time. So this is going to be Minnesota collecting the last 15 seconds. That was a nice P2 for them, but now P3 incoming, and Denver is fully set up.
Minnesota once again having to solve the same problem they had the first time here on this point, and that was try to break on through and beat the early rotation coming in out of Denver. And there are just not a lot of lanes to do that in, especially when you have melted so deep back. But they might have found a hole. Durkee was able to get through the back and try to find one, but can't find a second. That will cause Denver to spawn out, though. So a bit of a problem here for Denver, but I think they are going to read this. Minnesota, though, is starting to pick them off, but this is already 20 seconds going in favor of Denver Surrender, and they're getting awfully close to the 200 mark. So Minnesota have to start moving here.
They do, and Minnesota in the back, I mean, trying to make a play, and there goes 3 down, and Antidote less alive. Does get 1 nice kill, gonna try to stay up, maybe just contest this, wait for the reinforcements. Does get taken down though, so Minnesota with the break-in, now 24 seconds left. Denver can do a job here of really just hemming them in and being able to rotate over to Nexus, which it looks like they're gonna do. Is you're seeing those left side spawns here for Minnesota, all those players spawning there, but this is again a situation where Denver can kind of put them in a blend here if they can keep them over on that side of the map. Dunny finding that kill. The trade is in though, and now you have some split spawns coming in throughout the map, but Denver continuing to fry Antidote with 2 in the feed.
The Antidote is going to have a nice little multi-kill there, and Denver now going to hit that 200 mark here shortly. Minnesota spawning over by the bus side, so they're going to have to try to move on through from the front once again. They will try to get in through the back lanes, but Dunny is just getting caught red-handed, but a nice kill keeps Minnesota's hopes alive here, but they got to start moving. They are wasting so much time, and Denver is just soaking up all of the time right now as Dunny's trying to find something in the bag, but you have a submachine gun. You are not going to win that fight, good sir. Antidote going to go on a 5, finding him on the side, and will find a 6. Great kill out of Antidote. Great route, and Antidote still is just moving around. Minnesota can't find him. Finally goes down. Almost a nice kill there onto DG. Almost got him out of his boots, but wasn't up. But Denver have just eaten up all of this hard point. Minnesota are now just finally contesting, and only with 10 seconds left. So now it's going to be a race over to P1. Minnesota should have the initial time, but the numbers are about to go Denver's way.
They are. Now the kills need to go the side of Minnesota, which for the time being they are. It's going to be 3 down for Minnesota. The issue is only 13 points needed here for Denver. So just no, basically have to play mistake-free COD for the last few points here, and it's just going to be really tough to do. You can see Denver once again working slowly to try to break this point. They know they have all the time in the world to do so. Benny with 2. The trades come in from Esky though, so Minnesota's starting to try to mount something. You got to continue to hold this time. You got to continue to hold the spawns for next, but the break now comes in for Denver. Quick trade. Not over yet. Minnesota's starting to get back into this a little bit, but again, just no mistakes. They really can't afford any at this point.
Yeah, and Denver's got to do as best as they can not to get overexcited here and start challenging one by one. I know you're only 6 points away at this point, and they actually might have it here if things hold true. Benny gonna try to stop that from happening, but they're still holding on to the point, and the tick is there. I don't know why Minnesota didn't collapse on the point, but regardless of that, Denver's surrender are gonna take map 1 in decisive fashion. Just great team play all around. They're out of Denver. Minnesota just could not find the answer. So Denver surrender gonna take the Moscow hardpoint.
I think that was just a case right there for Minnesota where it was just a lot of time lost where, you know, again, maybe
in that first map in Minnesota, you're going to have to fix a lot of small things. You have to do so right away because, as rightfully you said, Teach, they don't want to go down 2-0 in the series for sure.
Heavy presence over to this A side for Denver surrender, but maybe a little bit of a just a backup here playing for picks. It is going to be the first kill going the way of... Excuse me. Yeah, I was gonna say we have the team team switch there. Denver getting that first pick, but that bomb is going down onto A, and finds himself in a perfect spot. Dunny though actually makes a nice read there and is able to get out with his life. Now has that teammate support. Let's see if Minnesota can break back in. That's a big kill there. 2v2.
2v2. Couple of shots being fired, but Ranger just happy that they can get their life back. 23 seconds left on the clock. They gotta make a play. Spidey gets a nice kill there. Headshot multiplier in effect. It's gonna be up to Melton. 1v2. Can he catch one? No, he cannot. Dunny's gonna find the kill and be the hero here for Minnesota, as Spidey is going to hop on and get this defuse. Well done there out of Minnesota. Great break there. Nice little headshot multiplier kill, but hey, man, that's how you win those gunfights. You make sure you aim for the head.
I mean, that's a good retake, and that gives me a lot of confidence in Minnesota continuing into the search and destroy. They get first blooded, but you know, that's a nice break there to get back into that bomb site. A great play by Dunny, by the way, to spot that player in laundry, get out with his life. I think that was really the big part of that round that really won it for Minnesota. Now they try their hand back on the offensive side here.
There we go for Minnesota. Want to try to build the momentum that they were lacking in that first map, and that's a good start. A good little retake, get the defuse. That's how you kick things off. And it looks like Spidey's going to find first blood. And this B push is going to be pretty successful. They're going to get this bomb down. Antidote is really the only one to answer for it. And it's going to get placed right in the face with the Semtex grenade. 2v4 situation here for Denver. They have a pretty hopeless odds of trying to retake this, as Ragnar's going to go down. Benny's going to be last up. 1v4. This is done and dusted. This is Minnesota's round.
It's a nice kill there, though.
True.
Get something, get something on the board here, and yeah, I mean the retake is essentially impossible here. Although a second kill going down, 17 seconds, the clock working against, and did he spot that player out, or he may have?
It's not enough time.
But just not enough time here. Benny getting all the kills though. My goodness. I mean, gets 3 on the round, so that's something. But it is going to be Minnesota taking another round, going up 2-0.
Yeah, this is good stuff here out of Minnesota. Exactly what they needed to do. A little bit more clinical play. That B push was something that Denver did not expect, and they made them pay for it. They were able to get the bomb down early after getting that first blood. They realized there was no one else there. I don't know about letting Benny get 3 kills before winning that round, though. That's a questionable decision there out of Minnesota. But regardless, you get the round on the board. Dunny is still 4-0, staying alive, keeping that streak alive. So Denver now going to go on the attack side and look for an answer.
And it looks like the plan for them is, once again, go to that A side. Similar defensive setup here from Minnesota Floppr, as they send 2 over to that A side, 1 mid and 1 B. It's pretty standard setup here, obviously, on this map. Denver playing this one a lot more passive, though, you're seeing. They got that first pick last time around, which is interesting. I mean, that aggressiveness kind of worked out in the beginning, but now they're going to back up and try to rotate this potentially over to this B side. And depending on the timing here, they might catch out number 5 in Dunny. He is sitting on this pool stairs. Let's see if he can find any players. Does find one and once again gets out with his life. And I think now he knows what is happening here, so he can relay this information to his team.
And something also is Dunny's probably going to play for the streak at this point, so even if Minnesota have to chalk a round or 2 to make sure he gets it, that's probably going to be worth it. But that said, Denver does get the bomb down onto that B site. Minnesota just looking for the right pinch here. You see there's one player going to be in basketball, 1 over at cutout, but one's going to get found out. So now 2v3 situation. Dunny now left in a 1v3, and this is a gunfight you probably don't want to take. I think he ends up getting one right before his death. So might have been able to get that streak there, but does end up falling. So Denver finally going to get on the board. Dunny is going to lose the streak. I probably would have stayed back in that situation. I mean, like I said, just chalk the round, play for the streak, and see if you can get a better opportunity. That was a risky gunfight.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I think he's trying to make a play for his team, and I respect it. But yeah, I mean sitting at 6-1 right now, yeah, not gonna get it. Sitting at 6-1, having a nice map, but as you said, their streaks would have been nice. Denver gets themselves on the round. Minnesota Floppr back on the attacking side, and we'll see what they elect to do. Looks like this time going over toward that A site, and once again on the defensive side, pretty standard setup. You got 2 players over toward A, trying to find this first pick, and Minnesota Floppr once again as well, playing this pretty passive here. Ragnar potentially getting spotted. It's going to be Benny, though, with the first blood on Dunny.
Finally, Nate goes over towards the van, but will not find any players from Denver. Denver is going to find that first blood, but a quick answer there from DG, who barely gets out with his life. Antidote. Just going to hold tight, not to get overexcited, but now a full rotation coming here out of Minnesota. They're going to head over towards that B site. Denver waiting for the right opportunity to strike here. They don't want to leave A just yet. They're going to probably wait for this bomb to get down and then have to go in for a retake. But I think they're starting to get the idea. It's at this point there's no movement. It's like, all right, they probably went on over. So nice, the antidote going around the back, but Decky is going to sniff him out and take him down. 3v2 situation here for Minnesota with the bomb down. 35 seconds here for Ragnar and Benny to try to retake the site and get the defuse. But you see Minnesota, they're hopping in the pool house. They're just going to sit back and just let this go down.
Yeah, I mean, look at this post-plant setup right now, and this is something we've seen a little bit earlier as well. They're just playing for that player in top bedroom and making sure he's protected. Obviously, the bomb in sight. Ragnar's going to try to get this defuse in, but just like that, the setup is true, and that's twice that they've done that, and I like that play from them. I mean, basically, just giving this player up top, if he finds that first kill, which he does, it's obviously easy. 1 on the second on the player defusing the bomb, so I like that setup for them. And once again, it's the offensive side that plays over toward that A side, plays for that information, tries to get some picks. If there's nothing, they are able to get over to B. Let's see if these teams can make the adjustments. So that's back-to-back rounds where that's happened.
Yeah, looking over at Denver, and Benny just needs some help. I mean, That's basically all I can say. for Denver. Just give Benny some help. The rest of the team has to show up, and they got to show up now, and that's going to be a good start. But, of course, it's going to be Benny who finds the first blood. They're on to Spidey, so Minnesota now down a player as they try to hope to defend these sites. But, I mean, A is wide open, so this plant should go down here momentarily. As Ragnar will go down. Another nice find there. But now Dunny's going to try to fire some shots, but Antidote is going to answer right back. Return to sender. And DG, last one up. 1v4 situation. He's going to check this corner, but it's going to get popped. Denver back on the board. This game is closer than it feels. It feels like Minnesota has been dominating this game for sure, but the round count is still sitting at 3-2.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, as you said, I mean, Benny has been playing lights out so far for Denver. But, you know, Denver just making the plays that they need to get a few rounds on the board. And that's good news for them, right? Like, if it's not feeling like, you know, they've been at their best, but they're only one round down, and, you know, a chance here on the defensive side to even that up. So I think, you know, if you're Denver, you kind of like that prospect. And Minnesota, once again, we'll see what they elect to do. This time going over toward the B side, Melton's going to have a big task at hand.
Break in hand. Shots are fired, but Spidey is going to find the kill, but a team kill evens up the odds. 3-3 here on the player count. Denver, though, do know that it's B this time, so they're going to rotate over and get into position. Antidote's going to get a little overexcited. Don't overextend. You want to stay right there on those stairs. Benny going to retreat over to the basketball court and try to find a line of sight. Minnesota, I don't know if I like this out of them because their more aggro strategies have worked out. I would have much rather them just try to force the bomb issue right away. But right now, Denver's holding on tight, and I think a bad read here because they have one player rotated over towards A, and Minnesota's just waiting.
Yeah, and Minnesota has kind of made a home in that top bedroom side, and they're just kind of playing for picks here now on the attacking side. We'll see. I mean, Denver they're not reading this at all, and this is actually going to allow Minnesota potentially to get a free plant down. I'm sure Dunny is actually kind of confused. He hasn't run on anybody. Now, it is going to be Denver trying to get in position, but is it too late? 15 seconds on the clock. This bomb has to go down, but now you got this player in money. Dunny finds one kill. Looking for a second. That's two down. Ragnar last alive. You got to get this bomb down, though. Do they make this read? They don't. Ragnar finding one. Looking for a second.
Why, he stopped?
He got the bomb. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my Lord.
I mean, that would have been the craziest play I've ever seen if he got away with that.
I am so confused as to why Ragnar stopped shooting. I am beyond confused. I have no idea why he stopped shooting, but regardless, gets the 2 kills that he needs on that nice flank there at the very last second. Minnesota waited forever, and I just don't know if that was the right play. I mean, yes, they got the bomb down at the end of the day, but I don't know. I feel like there was a nice moment there where they probably would have had a good chance of winning that round if they just got on through and planted the bomb like they originally hoped to do. Because Denver rotated early. I mean, there's no way for Minnesota to know that for sure, but there's an opening there, and you might as well just go get stair control. You know you killed one player and just get the bomb down, but regardless. Denver does tie it up. We're at 3-3 here. Denver on the offense, and looks like A will be the play. Ragnar with the bomb. Yeah. Minnesota stacked the right way this time, and they do have Decky. Going to come into that kitchen, probably fire some bullets through the wall, but slow and steady right now for both squads.
Yeah, and this has been a theme offensively is just waiting the defensive team out. Minnesota is much more prepared for this ace hit than they were last time, though, which if you're Denver and you make the right play, you could actually potentially get a free plant down over at B. But, I mean, they're playing this so slow. Dunny finally finds a player, does find that kill. Bomb is down on the site. The numbers are even. That is going to be melted in the middle of the map, finding that kill onto Decky. So now a 3v2 situation. Bomb down. There's going to be Spidey getting the kill on Antidote. So now a 2v2. Very possible here still. So that bomb goes down on A.
Bomb's down. Duo time here. See who's been playing their 2 GBs. And it looks like it's not going to be Benny. Although Benny is basically the best player on the team. It's going to be up to Melted 1v2. Ooh. Gets the sight line. Knows where they are. This is such a good play. Didn't fire the bullet. No, there's 2 players. So 1 kill wouldn't have helped here. And Minnesota is on the hunt. This is such a good play at Melted, but we got to see the Minnesota players find him. And I think they do. Now they got to race over towards the bomb. They should have enough time, and they will. With 9 seconds to spare, they will hop on the bomb and get this defused. That was such a smart play out of Melted. Probably needed to just go prone in that position, but I completely understand the paranoia, making sure that there wasn't a flank coming around kitchen side. But Minnesota will get the dub there. It'll be 4-3.
Yeah, nice tactical round there. That was one of the more interesting rounds we've had so far in this raid search and destroy. But as you said, nice play from Melted. Not working out in the end, but giving it his best effort. Minnesota retake the lead in this one, up 4-3. Back on the offensive side. It's been a lot of the same that we've seen on offense for both squads. Let's see what the play is this time. Maybe a little bit of indecisiveness, but now heading over to the A side once again.
A is the plays here for Minnesota. Dunny gonna try to find the first kill on the side. Can't quite find it. Trophy system will take care of his nade there. So another slow and steady round, as we've seen time and time again. First blood still has not been found. We go here with Antidote, just looking down the middle. Bill's completely covered. Minnesota has basically just locked themselves inside of that art side, and they're just going to wait for Denver to get a little aggressive here, which if you're Denver, try to do your best to read that and just make sure you just don't overextend. You're in good spots here. You just hold this down. You can basically prevent this plant. Then he's going to double check over by pillars, but there is no one even close to there. But Minnesota are starting to work their way around the ring side, which might catch Benny off guard. I don't know if Ragnar saw the rotation or anything like that, but I think that grenade is going to reveal them, and now Benny's just going to get hit with the firing squad. First blood goes Minnesota's way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very nice patient play there from the side of Minnesota. Now they will look to get this bomb down, and it's not going to happen as the planner is going to get taken down. The quick trade is in. 2v2 situation, though. Spidey getting those shots off. Going to get weakened up. Now Melted from mid-map, just not getting the timing as well. 2v2 situation. This is a big moment in this match right now. Spidey with the kill on the Ragnar. Now Melted. 1v2 situation. Finds one. Does he see the second? Does he see the second? He does. Now gets that spot on. Has to make a move.
Yeah, Melt's gonna make the move right now. He's gonna go right for Spidey. Spidey doesn't know where he is. And oh my god, the damn Maddie's gonna fly out and take down Spidey. A great 1v2 out of Melton. Make it up for that last round. And we'll tie up the search and destroy at 4 apiece. Great, great play out of Melton there. I'm not sure. I thought Spidey saw him. That play. And now we are all tied up. What a great search we have here on Raid.
I mean, even getting that calm as well. And I mean, the shots go in, not able to hit anything, and that just reveals his position. Melted knows he has to chase this kill down, and just absolutely. I mean, he slammed him.
Let's just call it what it is here. Call it spade a spade here.
That is a big kill right there, because now you even this series up in a 1v2 situation, and Denver, I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good after that one.
Yeah, gotta hype yourself up in the comms a little bit. This is one of the situations. B now. Gonna be the target here for Denver. First blood gonna come in, but a quick trade and make that 2 down for the side of Minnesota. It's up to DG and Decky to prevent this plant, but Antidote is just taking heads. 1v3 here for DG, and now the play call is gonna be in to plant this bomb down. Ragnar going to be just out of view of DG here, but Benny's going to get spotted and just get away with his life. DG couldn't find the final couple of bullets needed to take him down. So bomb is down on B. 42 seconds to make a play.
And with the sub in hand, I mean, this is one of those retakes that just feels almost impossible because you know a player's going to be that top bedroom side. We'll try to make this play through mid, but 30 seconds on the clock, not looking good for the side of Minnesota. We'll see if DG finds anything, but once he pops out of mid, he's going to get taken down right away. Denver take the lead. They are 1 round away from going up 2-0 in this series. And
this is going to hurt if you Minnesota and you can't close this out because this is the map you easily could have won. You had such a great lead in the beginning. You were showing a lot of good search and destroy fundamental play. And now Denver had just gone and taken it from you. So now they will be 1 round away. And not to mention, they're on defense. So there's an uphill battle here for Minnesota to do. Try to keep his map alive. And my God, Dunny is 13-6 and might still end up losing the map. That is tough scenes. If I've ever seen tough scenes in my life, this is certainly one of them here for sure for Minnesota.
Oh, he's going to get picked, though. That is
oh, my Benny!
Want to lose is Benny. Maybe overheats just a little bit there, doesn't get taken down, but takes 2 in the process. So now 3-2 advantage for Denver, and you have the information as well. TG will try to make this play through mid. He gets spotted, does get out with his life. So now game of cat and mouse here from both of these teams.
The bomb in your hand, though, but now you are the last one up. 1v3 situation to keep this map alive and prevent the 2-0 start to this series. But Denver is just starting to collapse on DG's position. He is forced to the very back to spawn you go. DG might have actually evaded the sight of Melted here. Is actually going to get away with this, but has to pick a lane and has to pick it quickly here. Remember, Ninja is a thing in this game, so the footsteps are not going to be heard here. But the check into Art ends up costing him his life. Denver Surrender are going to go up 2-0 in this series. What a great comeback here for Denver Surrender, and they will win this search and destroy 6-4.
Benny just with the absolute beam.
And we are back here, short break, but we are already into the thick of it here on the first round of Checkmate Control. Denver Surrender looking to take this last map and bring it home and go to the semifinals. Minnesota trying to avoid going home on this one. They got to win 3 straight.
Denver starting on the attacking side early here and will continue to try to fry. But Minnesota, you're already seeing, as I said, they want to take control of this plane. They want to make it hard on their opponent, and so far a good start for them. And this one already pinning Denver back in their spawn, and it's going to be a big deal. Decky already 3-1 in this, and just controlling this top plane area.
A lot more map to control, but plane, as you said, is the hot spot that you want to try to make sure you get control of, especially with that B site right below. Denver having a hard time getting out of spawn at the moment. Dunny is in their stuff too. They are right behind and causing problems. But Denver have found a hold. They're going to go under the plane. They're going to start to get that first tick. Ragnar's going to tag it and try to see if he can catch any Minnesota players caught out in the open, and will absolutely do so with the help of Melted. So that is the first tick down here onto B. Keep an eye on Minnesota. They're just going to kind of bum rush right towards it. But right now, Denver have the stack. Word to Jims. One more player's got to get on and help him. No, but Antidote is not going to get there in time. So now what was potentially a stack was just a 1-player push. And it's going to be Minnesota who are throwing up that first push. And there's 22 seconds left on the clock.
Already 12 lives left as well for the side of Denver, so not ideal. Make that 10 as this round is completely flying by. Only 14 seconds on the clock. And now if you're Denver, you kind of just have to force your way over toward A at this point and just try to throw bodies at the point. But you are getting absolutely mowed down. This looks like a completely different Minnesota team in this map 3 to start, at least. Ragnar will get on B just to hold the time for a moment, but he's going to get quickly traded out, and that is a flawless round for Minnesota to start this one.
Couple of ticks go Denver's way. I think there was 2 ticks. They had 1 tick on both sites. So they'll go into the defending round carrying that. But yeah, like you said, that was just perfect there out of Minnesota. Just not letting Denver get a lot of the map and causing them issues. Not even letting them out of spawn in some cases, especially right in the beginning there. So there just wasn't enough time for Denver to work with in order to make any type of noise. So now we switch sides and we go again.
Yeah, and I'd like to see, Minnesota, that was such a strong round them in the slaying department, and it started right away. It started with them completely getting that plane control from the start of the round, and from there they kind of rolled with that. It looks like Denver already trying to get more 3 in at the moment. Antidote does find 1. He'll get traded out, but this is exactly what you wanted to do. As Ragnar finding 2 of his own, and this is a nice start here for Denver, this time on the defensive side.
I didn't think there was a go route in Call of Duty, but Ragnar basically ran it. He just went right into plane and just caused Minnesota to have to switch up and try to go over towards A, but Denver basically have that all piled up too. So now for Minnesota, they're going to have to try to make the play to find a couple players first, and they can't find any kills without losing a couple lives on their own. So now DG basically by himself as he waits for the rest of his team to spawn up here, and Denver have full plane control. They have 2 players up top, but that's a good find. So it's going to be up to Ragnar, who's going to push on through and continue to trap Minnesota onto that one corner of the map. But Minnesota have answered back with a few kills of their own, and they have A.
Yeah, now, well, I was going to say, you have to get this player in the back in Ragnar. They finally do take him down. But once again, defensively, just both teams are doing really well at just locking it down, as once again, Denver going to try to continue to make these plays, and Minnesota do not have an answer right now. I mean, they looked absolutely phenomenal in that round 1, but right now it is all Denver Surrender in this round 2, and Now their hand then is Antidote is going on a run, just basically doing whatever he wants to Minnesota, and this should be around here for Denver. And it will be. I was gonna say maybe a chance, yeah. I was gonna say maybe a chance for them to get on, but not in the end. And another strong defensive round here.
And Denver, compared to what we saw in Minnesota, so they didn't let any ticks go by, so they are still holding on to that 2-tick lead, and now on this attacking round have an opportunity to continue to get more. So that's what they'll be working with going into this attacking round, and that's good. I mean, it's as good as you can get, almost perfect. Coming in out of Denver, Minnesota have to make sure they put a stop to Denver in their tracks here. Don't want to let this game get away from them, and they especially do not want to lose an attack round here on Checkmate Control, of all things.
Got to have that strong round, you know, that you had the first time around if you're Minnesota on the defensive side. I feel like this is almost a must-win round for them in this series if they want to continue on. And it's going to be, once again, I mean, look at the fight for plane control. Looks like everybody and their mother is in that plane. And now an assassination.
Oh no!
But the kill is stolen.
I couldn't tell if that was an accident or not, but nice little attempt there. It's Minnesota holding strong for now. Denver trying to make a push. Ragnar finds a kill and opens things up here on the A side, but is going to get caught at the last second there by Decky, who is still just sitting under that plane. I mean, this is where Checkmate Control really shows what type of map it actually is. Just getting everybody caught in those corners of the map. Denver doing everything they can to break on out, but Minnesota is just not letting it happen. But now, look at this push over towards B. This is going to be a problem here for Minnesota.
It is. And now, how do they deal with it? Well, that's how they deal with it. It's going to be 3 down in the feed. You're seeing all those Denver players now spawning to the top right side of the map, and they're kind of, once again, forced to make a decision here. Do we go back to B or do we go down straight to A? It looks like they're going to try to get themselves over to B.
Yeah, it looks like B will be the play now. Ragnar's going to open things up once again, going to hop onto the site, but is going to get found out again by Spidey, who will continue to force Denver's hand on this one. And I think Denver, once again, just not going to be able to do much here. They don't have a lot of time. They have to get a couple of kills here. It looks like they do have a possibility at the A site here. They do have enough players to cause some damage, but they got to win these kills, and they might be doing so here. But Dunny is just making sure that does not happen. And now Spidey from the top rope is going to be the dagger that puts this push away here for Denver. One more push. That's all you got. It has to be A, but there's not enough numbers. I think Minnesota, barring a miracle here, should take this round.
So, yeah, I mean, they try to hop on, but they are quickly shut down. Minnesota takes the defensive round that they needed to. And from this point on, I mean, obviously, again, back against the wall, so we'll see what they can do on the offensive side. But I will say, it looks like both teams a lot more comfortable with what's going on defense. And that might really be what it comes down to in the end.
So Denver here, weight of the world a little bit. So you want to make sure you try to take this round back and have to win the next one as well. Both teams doing great on defense, though, so they shouldn't be too concerned. They still do have that tick advantage, I believe. So round 5 looking very favorable for them if they can just win this round now. Minnesota want to try to put this one to bed here and move on to map 4 and try to keep this series alive. Looks like this plane control fight going to start this off. It's going to be first blood here for Minnesota. Ragnar might be able to answer back, but Melted. They're looking for any stragglers, and we'll find 2, actually, with the help of, I think, Ragnar inside of the plane here. A couple of good kills here for Denver, but Minnesota still having some presence here in the plane.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that Minnesota's been really keen on, is that top plane control. Not working out so well in this time, but, I mean, they're sending 3, 4 people off the break, and I mean, again, really trying to force that issue, but once again, it is the defensive side that is coming out strong here to start this round and just really putting the offensive team in a blend.
This is going to be a couple of good kills here coming in from Denver. Melted going to defend that site. Not quite, though. Not able to find that kill, but that's going to be a double there for Minnesota, which keeps B alive. So they're going to hop onto that one here and try to get this one moving along, but quick couple of kills to answer back here is Denver, but now a transition over to the A site. Denver should be able to read this, but they got to make sure they get there quickly. They don't want to lose the sticks.
We'll see if they are able to gets themselves back over to that side. The kills are going the way of Minnesota for the time being. You got to worry about these players in the middle of the map toward that plain side. As one of them will take down. Now Shriek's coming in from above. Can they get this kill? They do. This should give Minnesota some leadway to get over to this point and make the play.
Stack up here onto A. Benny's looking for a bit of an entry. Can't quite find it. The contest is in, though, and that's going to be 3 kills there for Minnesota, but Benny's going to be right there. Finds one, tries to find the second. Can't quite finish it, though. So Minnesota, great opportunity here. They have 2 ticks. They're going to try to get this third one here as they try to finally get the first point in this checkmate control, and they will absolutely do so. Over to B we go. Denver is in trouble.
Now, I mean, what do you do if you're Denver? You got to slow this down just a little bit and be able to make the play, and both teams will take a breath and look for these picks to open it up. It looks like Minnesota trying to do that, but 2 going the way of Denver, and now the flank coming in from Decky, getting the kill there, trying to open up the lanes for his team.
Everyone just kind of trying to fight for position, especially in the middle of that map. Decky especially going to be the one. Now Denver try to open things up here once again and try to get control here, but they're just not getting much of it done. Dunny is going to be a problem up top. Benny will make quick work of that. 30 seconds on the clock here for Minnesota. They're almost down to 4 lives, no respawns, but they're going to try to make the most of it here. They find 2 kills. This is going to be as good of a push as you are going to get here if you're Minnesota. Might as well take a shot at it. Antidote, though, is going to put an end to that 7v3. Denver should take this round, but round 5 is where this is going to be trouble.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's any last attempt here from Minnesota, but not looking the greatest. Decky does find one on the Benny, looking for a second. He gets taken down. 1 live left for Denver. Excuse me, for Minnesota. He's taken down. Denver take it, and we go to round 5. I think if it wasn't obvious, this is going to really come down to defense round 5. It has been absolutely a defensive show to start this one out.
Go to round 5 here on Checkmate Control. And I'm sure those who have seen this map before are loving that aspect. For the most part, they're going to look to try to get this done right here, right now. Which team will do it? Will Denver put this away right here, right now, or will Minnesota have an opportunity to extend this series just a bit longer? Remember, we go to Hardpoint next, and that's going to be Denver's playground there for sure. So now with Denver on the attacking side, looks like A will be the play. As they kick this one up, they're going to try to find the first couple of kills up top. They're going to check the plane. They're going to let Minnesota actually have the plane. I think they're just going for a full-on stacking the point here and not worry as much about the map control. We're going to have to see if that works out.
I'm actually somewhat okay with this. I mean, 'cause they've kind of been getting dominated in that area. The problem is you got to find these other kills, which they have really not, and some players not going down for them. So it's basically a full reset here for the side of Denver. Spawning in the back, and already, I mean, time ticking. Time is of the essence, and it's just not going well right now. It's just been a defensive stronghold for both teams in this one, and offensively, not much happening in the slightest.
Not much going on, but Denver is still just going to be committed to the idea of, hey, we just got to get on the point here and just cause Minnesota to kind of overexpose themselves a little bit here. That TK is certainly not going to help matters there for Denver, but they still have 3 players up. But the gunfights from across a map are just going to go Minnesota's way. Denver cannot find a hole to dig right now. Minnesota are the only ones digging, and right now they're digging the graves of Denver here on this map. And I mean, this is the map you got to win if you're Minnesota. 30 seconds left, though. Denver only have 1 more chance at this.
1 more chance, and we will see. I mean, what they elect to do, it has just been so hard once again offensively to get anything going, but maybe a chance here.
Maybe a chance. Melted finds 2. Decky and Spidey, though, answer back with 2 of their own, but Melted finds a 3rd, and now things are all of a sudden open on the A side. Melted cannot get overexcited here. The problem is he's probably going to get collapsed on before the rest of his team can even go and help him. He has to check that left side, but he's not going to. DG is going to find the kill. Now it's going to be up to Band-Aid and Antidote to reopen the hole, and they actually do so. That's 1 tick, and they're probably going to get the second here unless Dunny decides to go for the chow. But this is just going to be a high to get as much as you can if you're Antidote.
And now, with, I mean, look at this, 3 down in the feed, yeah. You can get A, but the problem now is going to be the lives. You only have 11 lives left, so you have to play this so surgically if you are the side of Denver. Antidote with the big shots there, getting the first. You got to be able to clear this plane area. They're watching the back. They are really, really scared about this push coming from the back, but this might work out for Denver if they find the timing, which they don't. Dunny with the big 2 does get traded out, but the kills going the way of Minnesota when they need it the most. And now a full reset here for Denver. Probably only one more push at this.
Lives are basically down to 0. If you're Denver, you got to think you can't be losing more here, but these are 2 big gunfights Antidote's going to take, but is only going to win one of them. So now really one more push, but you were just getting spotted out by Minnesota and being put to bed. No respawns remaining. Big text at the top indicates that Denver is just losing grip on this map. They finally get 2 down, make it 3. One final play that you have, but now it's going to be up to Benny, and there is just not going to be a lot that you can do. 1v8. You got to hop on B and just hope for the best. Nate's coming in all over the place. You got to find the right timing here if you're Benny, but how much do you really have to offer here? You're just going to get hit from the side, and you are going to go to map 4. Minnesota. This is just a great play there out of Minnesota. They will be up 3-2. And take it home on checkmate control. So now the series is 2-1. We move on.
Yeah, we do it. And once again, love defense reigns
But
supreme.
we are back. Raid hard point here. It's going to be Minnesota Floppr. They're looking to continue this reverse sweep. And Dunny is doing a good job of making that case for his squad. He's going to find the first 2 and he's going to hop on the point. But immediately Denver answers right back. And they're going to keep that point white for now. The Denver surrender, 1 map away from taking this home and moving on. Minnesota, 1 map away from going home, but they need the reverse sweep to continue right here, right now.
And it's a nice start here for Denver. Seeing Minnesota give up a lot of time on that P1 time, the first map on Moscow, not something they're necessarily willing to do this time around. You see Dunny making the play, trying to get these spawns for next. Let's find 1 onto Melted, so he's gonna get traded out, but putting his team in once again, just putting his team in good positions. But now that rotation coming over for P2, Denver with a small lead.
Small lead here for Denver. Over to P2 we go, and they will also have the rotations and the spawns for this as well. So again, we're seeing a lot of what we saw in that first map for Denver, where the rotations are just panning out in their favor, but now they got to hold off Minnesota, who are just pushing on in through the front. They are getting a lot more aggressive than we see in maps past. Melted is going to end up getting melted himself, but Benny is there for the reply. He's going to turn around onto Spidey. Has to find Dunny now, who's on the inside. Diamond, he's out, not able to find the kill. But look at Denver just doing a great job of answering for each other. 1 goes down, and they find 2 in reply. Antidote and Melted with a great answer there, and they should hold on to the rest of this point. So now, looking over to P3, Minnesota going to look to drop back here.
This is the exact situation, right, that I'm talking about. Like, you have
Gotta
to be able
go.
to drop here. And look, they have the positioning, but they're overextending themselves a little bit, and if you get beat, which luckily for them, they are getting the kills. But yes, I mean, actually, this turns into a nice play for Minnesota because they were able to get the kills. It's just a risky play, right? If you lose those gunfights, you might lose a rotation over it. It is Minnesota, though, set up on this garage hill. 2 players in, but you're already seeing player number 1, Dunny, spawns out. It's going to be behind them, maybe trying to make a play on them and be a reinforcement for his team.
Dunny going to look for any wandering Denver players. We'll find 1, but the rest of the players are doing enough damage here. As Ragnar's going to try to get away. Can't quite do so. Denny going to find him in the weight section. So good hold here out of Minnesota to kick this one off. Denny, though, just holding LT, Tyler. Just something that you keep preaching time and time again about holding LT. But it's just not going to be enough. Denver cannot fight their way in, so probably going to be chalking this one up and going next. But Melted at the last second couldn't find the second inside of the hard point there. Almost had a great play, but rotation battle we go, and Decky's going to be spotted, but the rest of Denver is here. So Decky going to have to post up and try to make some noise. Can't do enough, though. Denver on the rotation, and they have won.
This is actually big, though, because that's going to spawn player number 5 way out, and it's going to give Minnesota some numbers here over toward the side. They got to find the player in the back, though. The kill's going back and forth, but that small play there, that small play from Decky, maybe opening this up for his team, and now they got to be able to try to break this one in, but Denver doing a good job so far of holding this down.
So, something I'm seeing out of Denver that I'm really appreciating, the way they're setting everything up, they're keeping all of the gunfights as far away from the point as physically possible. And I know it seems like a weird thing to notice, but think about it for a second. They are still eating the time even when they are losing numbers over on the rotation. So they are still just soaking up quality time before Minnesota even has a chance to break in. And now 23 seconds on the clock, and Minnesota is still pushing this point. They're trying to surround Denver and pinch them into the spawn here, but Denver are winning the gunfights. They're still spawning nearby, which is actually a good thing because Minnesota, almost for a second, they're overextended. So now we'll go over to P5. Minnesota is going to be there first, but Denver are not going to be too far behind after a great hold where they hit the sentry mark.
And now Denver, again, I mean, playing this well, and now, excuse me, I'm trying to fix myself here, but it is Denver now breaking back into this P5, and will continue to look to put these points on the board. It's been a nice start in the slaying category for them as well. You see multiple players melted 15 and 12, Benny 14 and 12. So a good start for them. Minnesota, you gotta get yourself back into this point. You don't want to give too much time on what can usually be a pretty scrappy hard point. The other issue for them too is Denver has the side for P1 as well. So a chance for Denver to start to pull away with this one as they continue getting these kills, and Minnesota spawning very far away here.
Denver just gonna be holding on. These last few seconds of P5, Benny gonna find one over onto P1, but there is not a lot of Minnesota presence. And Denver actually end up getting gifted a spawn over by the palm trees behind Laundry. So now they're going to have the numbers holding over to P1. Dunny is going to be the one on the point, though, and realizes that there is danger ahead. So he's going to fall down, but that is a great nade there at Antidote. The Kobe comes on in and opens things up. So Antidote will find himself onto the point and is going to try to answer the bell onto Decky, and absolutely does so. DG going to be trying to pushing in from pillar side, but this is just full control coming in from the Denver surrender right now, and this game is starting to get ugly. They are running away. They're 150 and up.
Yeah, in Minnesota, you have those P2 sides, but it's a situation where you almost have to fight this P1, and they will be able to get in as well. 3 down. So a spot here for Minnesota where they're, look at this, they're already hitting this rotation. They're fine with, you know, having one player on time, and Denver is actually trying to go through mid as well. So this might work in Minnesota's favor in a big way. Ragnar getting that first kill though to open this up, getting a big second as well, trying to push this through. Both teams really vying for this P2 positioning right now. Minnesota still with the spawns, but Denver is applying that pressure. Now player number 3, Spidey's going to spawn a long way out. Antidote inside the point with that 74U, making plays.
Antidote being the answer that Denver was looking for. Minnesota had the spawns, but Antidote was just waiting quietly in money and waited for them to be distracted before coming in and finding a big 2-piece. So now the spawns have flipped and Denver are in full control. They are in the driver's seat. So Minnesota have to just work with little time left, little room to work with here as they are going to try to break on through the point. They're going to come in with a pinch, one on each side here, but Antidote is going to answer that one. Spidey going to find a kill onto Ragnar, but right now it just does not seem to matter. DG's going to try to find Antidote. Antidote finds one, finds a second. But Dunny is going to answer that one. So Minnesota going to hold on to the rest of this time, but they have made one fatal mistake yet again. They have missed out on the rotation, and of all the hills on this map that you don't want to miss the rotation on, P3 is absolutely it. So Denver are going to be posted up here.
Yeah, man, they kind of got put in a blunder here, which puts them in the situation, but now you need a break of all breaks to get yourself into this point. Spidey from this AC area trying to get in, but just nothing doing so far. But now the break potentially coming in, and now you just gotta watch these players for the front for Minnesota, and you might have this down. It's gonna be a very scrappy garage hill though. Dunny trying to just find one of these players. He cannot. He's taken down. Back and forth here on the garage.
Oh my god, and then all of a sudden a quick wipe, but a couple of players from Denver fall to the van. But they are still going to hold on to this point for now. Spidey going to try to find the other Denver players. Finds one, but now 200 mark here for Denver. Minnesota are starting to feel the heat. They got to go, and they got to start making some plays, and that's going to certainly help things. But once again, they have neglected the rotation, and Denver are literally spawning on top of P4. So this setup is going to be very easy for them. And Minnesota are just not in a good position right now. They are losing a lot of time here. They're going to have to look to break this through. That's going to be a good start with a couple of kills towards the backside. They are going to spawn Denver out, but now they got to collapse.
And now we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a tough break here with Denver. I mean, once again, there's back and forth on this hill. Minnesota does break in, though. Now Denver going going to be on the back foot here as they will try to break in from the front. You see all those players over toward that pool side trying to make the play. Minnesota really needs to hold down the rest of this time, though, if they want to get themselves back into this one. At least keep the hill away at the very minimum. But Ragnar already sliding in, trying to make the play for his team. 4 down. That is not good for Minnesota. Denver looking to inch ever closer to that 250 mark.
Yeah, they're getting so close now. They're not going to be quite there yet, even if they hold on to the rest of this time. So P5 is where the score will likely be settled here. As we move on over here, it's going to be a foot race. Minnesota will have the initial numbers, but here comes the push coming in from kitchen side, and that's going to be a kill from Antidote, but a quick answer. But Benny is going to find 2, and all of a sudden it's a 1v1 for the P5 hill, and Dunny is going to get found out, and this is it. This is it right here. Minnesota's got to move. I don't think they can get there fast enough. Denver has posted up, and Denver has taken the series 3-1. They will be moving on to the semifinals.
And just another dominating hard point there for Denver. It just really didn't look like at any point that they were out of control, and one of those situations for Minnesota where their guns just got a little bit cold there in that map 4, and just obviously maybe a product of the situation there in that one, but